Welcome to Break It Off, a brand new English talk show by HKeye, where we'll be shattering stereotypes from all professions. I'm your host, Melody Chan, and today I'm joined with Carlos Mendoza, who is a choreographer and dancer of 7 years. Hi Carlos, how are you doing?
Good. I just woke up, so let's go.
With your shades and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, can you tell us a bit more about your dance, like what type of dance style that you do?
So I started off as a hip hop dancer in the uni, and then towards the years, I've actually progressed into a more movement base. I would say my dance style is very influenced by a lot of things, especially in the recent years. I've done more Afro style, but more or less my choreography would be a little bit more about movements rather than a solid style, which is why in my regular classes, it's categorized as choreography.
How do you think you're breaking stereotypes actually by like merging so many different styles?
Contemporary wasn't really one of my interests back then. It was sort of just at the right timing and right moment where I found contemporary as something very foreign to my body, especially when you have to learn ballet. And then towards the years, you just fell in love with the art piece. I was able to really use the skill set that I've learned, especially in weight shift, and incorporate it in my regular classes, which I do think other teachers also do, but in a way I just emphasize it more. And I'm more vocal about it in my class using that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you think that just makes you different, like as a choreographer?
I wouldn't say different. I feel like everyone has their own individuality, but it does help having this knowledge that you get from a professional school. The teachers are just people that just shares knowledge, their personal experiences especially, rather than by the book.
And what do you think dance is to you, like throughout these years after, doing so many different trainings? And like, is that a deep question? Or?
Oh, that's a very deep question, but in a simple sense, I feel like dance has become such a relationship to me that it is an entity of its own, and it's rather than thinking of it as a job or as a hobby, it is more personal to me.
I know you have a really strong relationship with dance and you feel strongly about it and breaking those stereotypes especially. And have you felt any, stigma around, being a male dancer, for example?
Oh yeah, definitely. There are one or two occasions where I'm in a group setting where there are non-dancers. And automatically, whatever style it is that you dance, if you are a male dancer, it's automatically like assumed that you're more feminine.
For example, for contemporary, you use a lot of like fluid movements, and sometimes, you've said like, why is my sexuality also questioned when it comes to that? Like, how do you feel when that happens?
It's really annoying if people can just like be more open-minded about how people treat their career or maybe things they want to do, rather than just assume other things that's not entirely related to what they do.
And most importantly is to appreciate the art that you're doing. Yeah. And of course, talking about your art, what are your favorite accomplishments that you've done so far?
My favorite is when I got into my crew. It's called the AO Crew. World of Dance came 2023, and then AO Crew participated in that competition, and then we won first runner-up. And it was one of the best experience ever, because a competition just pushes a dancer to certain limits. If I focus more on career, it was being able to choreograph for my friend Mar from Collar, and now also the assistant choreographer for Collar themselves.
And gathering a team of the ethnically diverse, you're somehow pushing that perspective as well and breaking boundaries with that, especially with AO Crew, is that right?
Yeah, because I grew up in Hong Kong. I was born here as an EM, so ethnic minority. So it was really quite hard. It was only until when I got into uni that I was exposed to studio dances. So that's when the training started. And AO Crew was a mixture of a lot of diverse people with different backgrounds and different styles and even different communities. So you have the local people and you also have like people like me. There's no more boundaries or separation of like color or gender or culture, simply because, you know, we love to dance. So I actually want to see that more in the city rather than just one small part of this community. Because if that's possible in such a small group, I mean, having the same interests or having the same mindset, I think, can do just that.
Yeah, of course. And I know you being Filipino also comes with a lot of stereotypes of you being a dancer. Can you also share of your experience with that?
So there's this norm or there's this stereotype that's already embedded in the word Filipino, but you can't avoid the fact that, you know, when you're working hard towards your craft and there are some things that you say to yourself that you're not good enough yet, but people just label it as you're Filipino. So that almost discredits all your hard work and all your past struggles.
Do you ever feel like you're kind of restrained by that, or did it push you further? Like, what was that effect on you?
There was a moment where it did, but then you always have to go back to yourself, I guess. You start to realize that, you know, it's all just labels, and then it's really all dependent on how you view things and how your mindset actually changes when you want to do better.
What kinds of ways that we can do to actually break those stereotypes like further? Because you talked about changing your mindset, being open, but are there other ways to do it as well?
If we're able to just keep performing and just keep going out there or competing as a group and united, I feel like that's a good example for people.
And what kind of advice would you give to someone who is a Filipino dancer, for example, and, you know, to break those stereotypes and to be fearless?
At the end of the day, I think your worst critic is always you. So trying to find a balance between supporting yourself and criticizing yourself is really the key, because there's no one else more dependent in the world than yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Carlos, for sharing your story, your journey of being a Filipino dancer. And until next time at Break It Off, thank you.